in a situation where you find that they look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
because I have said that.
All right, thank you for staying. This is Daybreak on Trust Television, reaching you from the nation's capital. Time for us to take a look at the dailies on Daybreak, and we're starting with Daily Trust newspaper. Quite interestingly, this morning we are seeing that, yes, the papers are reflecting the fact that campaigns have begun, and that's today. Virtually in almost all the papers, there's sponsored ads there. And Daily Trust is not an exception this morning. Quite a number of stories, but we'll take a look at the lead stories, however. The lead story on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning says, despite Buhari's assurances, 23 Kaduna train passengers spent 6 months in captivity. It has a writer that says President should redeem pledge, victims' families. How the remaining captives can be rescued, according to ex-AIG. We also have above that campaigns. Atiku, Tinubu, Kwankwaso, Obi, 14 others battle for 84 million votes. You'd find that on page 35. And then reps fume over abundant 797 billion naira Abuja-Kaduna Road project. No state authorized to buy automatic weapons. Presidency replies Akeredolu on page 5. Now, you'd find also CBN raises interest rate to record 15.5% in 20 years on page 27. And then you'd find also right below that how my successor, other leaders will emerge in 2023, Buhari says. And then APC, PDP, others yet to submit 2019 election expenses report, according to INEC. And then 23 dead, 116,084 displaced in Benue flood. Not forgetting that it's 468 days after the Birnin Yauri school abduction. You have 11 schoolgirls of the FGC Birnin Yauri still in custody, and also 441 days after the Kujama attack. One student of Bethel Baptist High School still in captivity.
All right, let's now look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper leads with a story that says Nigerians face harder times as CBN raises interest rates. And it has a first writer. This is coming from the CBN governor. He says hike from 14 to 15.5% to contain rising inflation. The second writer, experts fault policy. And just at the bottom, we have Lagos takes delivery of trains for Red Line rail system. And above the lead story, presidency to Akeredolu, no state can arm security operatives. We also have another story here. All 18 presidential candidates face litigations, says INEC. Still on the Nation, suspended Ogun governor's aide Rufai jailed 5 years. And from Atiku, I'll be stepping stone for Igbo president. Those are the major stories on the Nation newspaper for today.
All right, let's take a look at The Guardian. On The Guardian, the lead story says, economy in rare credit squeeze as CBN continues with 20-year high interest. You'd find also the writer says MPR raised to 15.5%, highest in 20 years. CBN to debit commercial banks to effect new CRR Thursday. And then you have Andori. Increase creates opportunity for FG to mop up local funds. Job losses to worsen, experts warn. Nigerians lament soaring food prices. Address supply side shocks to check inflation. You'd also find that FG gets hashtag NSAS report 2 years after promises implementation. Court orders INEC to publish names of candidates in Edo governor's faction. Wike brings back legacy, 600 aircraft abandoned in Germany. You'd find also stop inducing dividing Christians. Northern elders advise APC Tinubu. You'd also would find court nullifies Ogun PDP governorship, Kebbi Central Senatorial District primaries, and then 2023 elections, how Nigerian politicians deceive electorates by Peter Obi. These are the stories on The Guardian this morning.
And on The Punch, just a few headlines on The Punch for today. It has as lead story, 2023, Atiku, governors land in Abuja, Tinubu Obi delay campaigns. And there's a rider there that says, please put personnel on alert, IG, INEC chair to address presidential candidates. We also have a story here that says, businesses face cash crunch as interest rates hits 15.5%. Those are the major stories on The Punch for today.
All right. And on this day newspaper this morning, we can see that in aggressive bid to tame inflation, CBN raises MPR to 15.5%. And then Atiku, my government will restructure Nigeria, quell separatist agitations.
And on the Daily Sun, we have a late story here that says, presidency, my victory will be stepping stone for Southeast. This is coming from Atiku. Also, PDP crisis, I won't abandon Wike, autumn. Then just right above that, more cracks in APC over campaign council. We have a rider that says, key party leaders aggrieved, maintain distance from presidential campaign council.
All right, so that's that for the papers that we have this morning. Let's get perspectives on that. Ben Shemang joins us, the Director of News, Voice of Nigeria. He joins us to give perspectives to the stories. Thank you so much for joining this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, as always. Well, today marks the beginning of campaigns officially. We are seeing that the papers are also reflecting the same. Were you expecting this?
Absolutely, yes. And I think that it's a master stroke for the advisors on the side of PDP on how to hit the ground running in terms of this information, the awareness. You can see this thing they call wrap around newspapers. Virtually every newspaper has the front page Atiku and Okoha, announcing their presence. And of course, yes, INEC has blown the whistle. Get ready, go. And so it is. They've started. So I'm not surprised. It's supposed to be. And of course, in compliance with the law, you have to do many of these political activities because there are some days set aside for this. If you don't do it and you run short of time, of course, it's going to be a constitutional crisis.
But what's the difference between what the politicians have been doing anyways and, this season? I mean, they've been going about traveling everywhere, talking to people and all. So,
well, that time you don't hear them on any rostrum saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for this, vote for the party. They were just simply moving around, conscientizing people. Today, they will now mount the rostrums, big loudspeakers here and there. So there is a difference. Today, the law says it formally kickstarts to this Wednesday. But if what they've been doing, some people feel it was a kind of a campaign, yes, it was subtle. But again, it was not backed by law.
All right. Well, what do you say to the fact that, yes, the INEC has blown the whistle and is supposed to kick off today. But then from the stories we're seeing, it's just PDP that is ready to actually kick off today. APC has suspended the activities that it had earlier planned for today. And then people say it's starting maybe a week later. Labour Party isn't even doing anything today. What do you say to that?
Yeah, usually when the rainy season comes, it's not everybody that will start farming that very first day of the rain. But talking politically, I mean, we've been reading the headlines. You see that some political parties still have some internal wranglings that they'll have to sort out. If you therefore feel, okay, let me go to the battlefield unprepared, it will not just be it. There is still time enough, but if PDP feels they are ready and they can go on, so be it. But again, you still see Otum still insisting he is aligning with Wike. Wike has become a kind of a king that people go to London, look for him and all that stuff. So you see that PDP at the point too, even though they are coming to say they are ready, they still have issues on ground. APC is saying, no, we are not ready. At the point some people will say, no, their presidential candidate is going for some consultations abroad. Whatever the consultations are, we don't know. But again, you also see that their campaign organization too, some governors are not too okay with what is happening. So it's a thing that is permeating, it's going around all the political parties. For Obi, yeah, he's been going around saying it's a movement, and now they've blown the whistle. Let's see what they can do. Those who feel he doesn't have structures, but we see some mammoth crowds following him, even though the campaigns were not that ready. But let's see what happens this time around.
All right.
Do you think that the campaigns this time will be different, the tone of the campaigns? Do you think that we'll see a shift from what we had in the past where you see candidates attacking one another and, instead of focusing on issues?
Absolutely, because I see that even tomorrow, these presidential candidates are supposed to be signing this peace pact. The National Peace Committee, led by General Abdulsalami, Bishop Kuka, the Sultan of Sokoto, they'll be there at the International Conference Center to sign this peace pact. And I do know that there have been some overzealous politicians who will be sending missiles, mudslinging, name-calling. I'll describe who your wife is for you and all that. You see some political parties coming to warn them. No, our own party is not supposed to be that way. So I foresee that we should be talking of issue-based campaigns. We want to see the political party that will say, see, if you vote us in, local governments will have their financial autonomy. If you vote us in, look, the federal government will never snatch, the parties' monies meant for state assemblies, so that we begin to know who is doing what and who is not going to do what. But when you begin to say, I'll build on the structures of so-so-so person, so-so, what about you? That person has done his own dance on stage, he's been gauged, he's been marked. And if the dance was good, okay, continue with that structure. But we want to know you, your very you, in terms of what you want to give Nigerians, not hiding under shadows. Very soon you see some very big billboards. Some local government chairmen, some lawmakers who intend to be one, some governors hiding under presidential candidates. You just see joint kind of billboards, as if that is the ticket to going to governors' offices or presidential offices or senatorial offices. Okay,
so but beyond the promises, beyond what politicians are going to be saying to promise Nigerians, in the past we've had a lot of promises. These Nigerians are not new to campaign promises. It's always, we're going to fix power, we're going to fix the roads, we're going to make sure that healthcare is accessible for everyone. We are going to make sure that quality education is accessible to ordinary Nigerians and all that. We've heard all that promises. But beyond the promises, how can Nigerians actually interrogate these promises to actually be able to sieve out and see exactly who it is that actually mean these promises, not just mounting it?
Yes. You see, in elementary journalism, critical elements, who is saying what, where, when, why, and how. Issue of how. In terms of interrogating the politicians, mostly that will be the job of the journalists. They are Nigerians. And the issue of how is always been left out. You tell us you're going to build a skyscraper in the ocean. We should ask you, how? You're telling us you're going to ensure there is security, maximum security. Every government in the past, serving governments are doing same, pronouncing same. Now we are asking you, how are you going to do it differently? You're telling us you're going to ensure that every youth in Nigeria, every youth is going to be gainfully employed. The question is, how, in the misfortune of dwindling financial opportunities, how are you going to do it? You're telling us you're going to build every local government a general hospital. The question is, how are you going to do it?
While those questions are being asked, do you foresee a group of voters who are listening carefully? Do you see voters also changing the trend? Voters that will say, okay, now I'm not going to care about ethnicity, I'm not going to care about religion. Because it's one thing for the politicians to come with whatever it is that they want to say, or the journalists to ask them those questions. The voters, do you think that there will be a change in the trend?
Absolutely, I think there will be a change, because when some people say we're tired of this or tired of that government, tired of this governor, tired of this system, tired of the operational modalities, and when you come with your money, you could see that some guys are, look, collect this money and just vote your conscience. Don't, but some people are saying don't collect. And we've seen some people they're attacking some candidates as Koshishi. And I will not bribe you, I won't give you anything, but follow me because you believe in my cause. Some people are saying, oh no, some guys don't have structures. But what is this structure? The structure is the human being. It's not the building we're seeing here and there. So yes, Stella, I foresee that some Nigerians will actually follow maybe the ways of Kenya. Here you are, a sitting president aligning with a former opposition against his vice president. But the Kenyans said, look, we've already washed our faces. Look, as we say in Nigeria, we don't shine our eyes. We've already seen the future. So if that is the case, I foresee that, yes, Nigerians will actually vote with their conscience more so. Check the Electoral Act today. Many things, the beavers will show a difference.
You know, there's a very critical mass of Nigerians at the grassroots level. We always say grassroots level, meaning the subnational levels, the local government and the state levels. There's always been concentration of issues at the national level. When, for instance, it's an electioneering season, we always talk about the presidency and those who are vying for the seat of the president. We talk less about those who are seeking House of Representatives offices, House of Assembly offices, and all that. How should we engage those ones at that level in a way that they can actually, guarantee us that they can actually perform and they are not just coming because of some godfather or some kind of political compensation or arrangement and all that?
Yeah, you see, Elia, I hope the next National Assembly, when they come on board, they tinker with the election in such a way that it is done, presidential and the executive at the state level. You do those elections one single day. You go National Assembly, State Assembly, another single day. We can do it. If you check India, when they start elections, they do in phases, and it can take them a whole week or even more because of the sheer size. Now, if we begin to say presidential election first and the result is out, it usually influences gubernatorial. Now, if we say gubernatorial first, people begin to look at, this party is leading, so the president should follow that way. And I tell you, if we just do it that way, one single day for the executive, another single day for the legislature, it's going to be marvelous in my own thinking. And coming to your question, you see, those days when when PDP was in power and you were driving past Edo State, you just see where you have federal roads, you see some billboards. Sorry, this road belongs to the federal government of Nigeria. In other words, a governor is blaming the federal government for that portion of the road. But when you go to some local governments, you don't also see the same governor doing the kind of job that they ought to do. If you entered Lagos State that time, you could see Fashola as governor. You pass some Lagos State control or on roads. If there were constructions going on, you just see, sorry for the inconveniences, the holdup you are experiencing is because there is construction work going on ahead. We are using your tax judiciously to do this road. Now, but when you look at it, when everybody is being almost deceived to pay attention more to the federal government, there is a big crisis. Health issues, things are not going on very well. Oh, federal government is not doing this. Right. Insecurity federal government is not doing this. So when people are clamoring for even state police, this is time to shift attention to the state also. When people are saying, look, let us have a situation where environment will not just, there is so much rainfall, now see the floods, we begin to blame NEMA for not bringing relief materials. The problems are more endemic. They are so rooted in such a way that they have to be, tackled holistically by every arm of government, not just blaming federal government for all of them.
All right, at least the campaigns have started, and I hope that Nigerians are listening and hope that they use their cards judiciously when the time comes. So I think we should take a look at this story. The lead story on the Daily Trust. It's 6 months since the incident on the Abuja-Kaduna rail track, and up till date, 23 people are still in captivity.
Yeah, you see, what we've been discussing and smiling. This time around, you see, the tempo will have to go down. I saw a video last week that these kidnappers released. They were busy flogging these women with sticks. They were crying and begging Nigerians to serve them. And I can see one former DIG saying, this is how we're going to secure these people. Whatever will be taken to release these people, I think the government should do it. I can see that they've been trying. I saw Samuel Aruan saying that 23 people arrested in Kaduna have been released by the, secured by the security agencies. I think that they should look at the areas where these people are being held. If you look at the perimeter, when they release these people, ask them, how long did you walk from so place to this main road where you've been seen or found by your loved ones? A walk of about maybe 1 hour, fine. Now, were you taken on a Okada? Yes, maybe for about 20 minutes. It begins to give us some idea of some areas we can encircle, begin to move in, form a ring, and we reach somewhere. And by the time these security agencies also interrogate these victims, they begin to get some ideas. And who are the people? I'm happy I saw one alleged kidnapper, the man who was always flaunting dollars, go and hustle. People didn't know he was involved in the kidnapping. Now they've traced from Bayelsa and got him somewhere in Abuja here. So when huge monies are being lodged, we begin to know. There is financial intelligence agency in every bank that are tracing huge lodgements. You trace to know who brought this money. You get the man.
You know,
yes, we've seen this.
Somebody in this story said something. It's a relative of one of the victims. He said that he believes that the reason his relative is still in captivity is because they are unable to raise the 100 million. He went further to say that if you notice, some persons have been released because they were able to pay that amount. So what's the way forward for this set of people who cannot raise this money?
Honestly, what do I say? Keep praying. There is hope. And one thing about the Nigerian is there's always a tomorrow for them. There is hope. And we also pleading. Some of them watch some of these programs, these kidnappers. They do. If not, tell me, their ICT world that you film, sometimes they film live, that you film and post, share, they are internet compliant, they are ICT compliant. Also, we are begging that they release do it on compassionate grounds. And when some of you, or some of them, will keep citing some religious inscriptions or do's and don'ts of religions, tell me how you want to do this kind of inhumanity to your fellow human being. And when you check, there could be, I mean, Nigerians, either Christian or Muslim, others are few in number. But maybe those who are really not the Muslims or Christians, maybe, I'm saying maybe they are not as criminal inclined as those of us who claim to be more of these two religions,
well,
the Abrahamite faith.
I think
but truly let us see the sanctity of life, hold on to it, and ensure that every human being's life matters, not just yours. After all, like we've always said here, they will say, when you get this ransom money, what do you use it for? The guy will say, we use it to buy arms. But honestly, it goes more than that. Happily, SSS, just 2 or 3 days ago, they got someone here around Zuba. They said a serving soldier man who was always taking arms illegally and giving them to kidnappers. So that was realized. They set a trap for him and he is in the net. So it behoves on the military, the security agencies, to still do quite a lot of this job. And happily, I see General Labaja, the GOC in Kaduna there, going into some bushes and ensuring that some of these victims are released. We need more of the Labajas.
Right.
We need them in the trenches more than in the offices. And that will be done.
All right, we hope and we pray that the victims of that abduction will be released as soon as possible. We're still talking about the issue of security. Yesterday we saw that the governor of Ondo State is raising concern about the inability to acquire firearms for the Amoteku Corps in the southwest region of the country. And yesterday we also see that the president is responding to certain statements that were made by the governor to the effect that only the National Security Advisor has the powers after clearance from the president to issue license for firearms and all that. Why is it taking that long to arm the Amoteku?
It's taken that long because of the laid-down procedures. And up to now, there are equipment, weapons that fall under what you call controlled items. AK-47, you don't use it to hunt rabbit, to hunt hare, to hunt elephants. No, you use the den gun. And so for Amotekun to get this kind of arms, of course there has to be that application.
Yes,
if
of
the
course. We
federal
know
government
we know that there's a process there, right? But this is more than a year we are talking about Amotekun. Over a year, almost 2 years, I guess, now. So if you look at the fact that at least there seems to be some kind of consensus on the fact that there is need for us to have these kinds of security arrangements to be able to complement what the conventional security institutions that we have are doing. So then why is it then so difficult to look in the direction of arming them?
Yes, it's difficult because you also look at what some key players are saying in the system. If the president appointed the Commandant General of the Civil Defense Corps and said, take charge of this, and they've so given them AK-47, look at what the leader is saying. The Commandant General, Audi, said, look, we don't need state police. Don't match us with police. When indeed we are looking at insecurity, if they do create a state police, of course, we expect that the Civil Defense Corps should be able to handle that aspect. They work in tandem. But if they are so close to the president and they are the ones privately and obviously talking to the press and saying, don't do this, don't arm this. Of course, the president at the point will also have to look at some issues. Look at even the police. Within the police setup, you're talking of recruitment. When they say every year, 10,000 policemen to handle all of this. For how many years now they've been in court? No movement. And so we think, yes, just a moment, Stella, but we think that there are some people who indeed are blocking this need to have arms. And I tell you, whether you are a governor, you are even a president, by the time you leave office, you need an environment that is secured so that you live in that place. So there are some veto powers the president should have so that that is done. And what does it take? Call members of your political party, call the opposition. This is a thing that we should handle holistically. It shouldn't be a single political party thing, so that we are not just left with pump action gun.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, that's what I was going to say. That now Amotekun wants arms. The next thing will be Ebubeago asking for arms. So if these individual groups begin to ask for arms and they get them, that could be a recipe for another problem, don't you think?
I don't think it's a problem. I don't think so. Because, look, Rotimi Akeredolu, governor of Ondo State, his outburst of recent was because he saw some people being trained in Katsina, and he saw them either holding some miniatures of AK-47 or real AK-47 during the training, being done again by the Civil Defense Corps. And he just felt, oh, the northern guys already said they need state police. Now we've seen Katsina taking the lead in terms of training and arming some people, when indeed they've not been armed. And that was why he came out, ho-ha, to say, look, we also need to arm.
So shouldn't we just fast track the whole process of establishing the state police so that perhaps if the unconventional nature of these arrangements is the reason or the barrier standing in the way?
Honestly, we should. We should, because even when we have that, when civil defense, they said they wanted to start carrying arms, they started going to Kachia for training. That's where, in terms of handling guns, I mean, seeing your rifle as a friend, and you must not turn the nozzle against those you are supposed to protect. If you check today, in terms of discipline, handling the gun, civil defense is becoming very, very, I mean, they are becoming experts. Exactly, they are professionals. But when you check, police will still have to do a lot in terms of handling the gun. Okay. So we need the army to train the police, train the Civil Defense Corps, and if need be, by the time state police are created, I mean, the army still trains them, because the army will always see the rifle as a friend.
Unfortunately, because of time, I have to interject. We have to go. It's a discussion we want to continue, but we have to end it because of time. Now, this is the newspaper review section that's looking at the dailies on Daybreak. We'll take a short breather now, and then when we return on top of the hour, we'll take a look at some more issues. Thank you so much, Ben Shemang, Director of News, Voice of Nigeria, for coming.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me always on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But in a situation where you find that they look at the same,
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
because I have said that